Welcome to Groundwork, a podcast from McClanahan Corporation to talk about key material processing topics. Whether you're talking about raw material or giving valuable resources a new life, we'll break down the best methods, tools, and innovation in aggregate and mineral processing that keep the world running. Because if it's not grown, it's mined. Welcome, everybody. I am Nick Ford with McClanahan Corporation. I've been in the industry crushing and screening for 18 years and seen good things and bad things, in stationary structures, stationary plants, mobile plants, and that sort of thing. So anyways, enough about me. Kevin, want to introduce Kevin Greer. He's our guest today with CalPortland. Give me a bio on Kevin. Kevin.
Thank you, Nick. Appreciate it. Long time no see since ConAg. So, I'm Kevin Greer. Work for CalPortland. We're a big materials company over in the West Coast. So I'm stationed in California. We're right in the middle of San Francisco and Los Angeles, where my quarry is. So I've been with the company for almost 8 years now. Got hired right out of college at Rocky Canyon Quarry. It's a drill and blasted granite quarry. We do about 500,000 to 750,000 tons on the high side a year. So it's all hard rock granite. We chase two different veins of material in the mine. There's a blue vein and a brown vein, and we produce concrete aggregate and asphalt and road base. So
today we're going to talk about our topic is improving sustainability in crushing and screening. And since you're a producer, you crush up the rock from big to small and sell it and put it on, roads and all kinds of different things. What is the benefits to you as far as sustainability and in your operation, your aggregate operation? What are the benefits, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're in California, so we're under some of the strictest regulations from across the board, whether that be APCD, Fish and Game, MSHA, stuff like that. So, with crushing and screening where I'm located, dust control and stuff like that is a huge one. And then, that rolls up into our core values of CalPortland, which is safety and environmental. So sustainability is huge in, not only my eyes as a manager, but, company wide. So we just, always looking forward to what we can do to help the future generations with, the world and crushing in general. So, but yeah, always striving to, look at the next best thing.
Yeah, it's interesting because I visited your quarry a couple times now, and or your site, I should say, and it's the most unique site I've ever seen. It's beautiful, first of all.
Oh, yeah.
You should see them. It's surrounded by mountains. It's just awesome. It's not what you think of when you think of California. Well, you think Los Angeles or San Francisco, but this is actually a very nice area. Not that those are nice areas, but this is really nice. But you have an interesting situations where you have a trail running through your quarry, right?
Yes, we do. Yep. It's been there for a long time, and it travels adjacent to our plant. And then there's part of it where it cuts right through where we load all of our trucks on the road trucks. So that's a very interesting dynamic that we have to deal with.
So you're very sustainable. You even let people exercise in your quarry.
Exactly. So they get to look at all the great equipment, all the great products we make, and get some exercise.
Hey, it's future employees, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I guess moving on to the next topic. So we look at sustainability, crushing and screening. What are there ways you're incorporating a sustainable crushing and screening? Some other practices. Are you, putting anything in place to do so with crushing and screening?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like I said, we're under some of the strictest, regulations. So, dust is probably, as far as crushing goes, sustainability and mitigating and controlling the dust is a huge one. So that and, the energy and all that that comes with it. So just being cautious of, the PG&E days and shutting down early for power and stuff like that. So like I said, we're always looking forward to, ways to be more sustainable. But those are probably the two biggest ways right now.
let's talk about your plant. What do you have in your plant? So I know, for people that haven't seen our job story with you, Kevin, we sold you a jaw crusher. Gosh, was that 2 or 3 years ago?
I think, yeah, going on
Um,
3 years.
yep. So they Kevin put a jaw crusher in place and replaced it with his smaller. He had a smaller jaw crusher, replaced it with a bigger crusher. What benefits have you seen with that? Just in that one little change to your plant?
Oh, it's been it's I want to say life changing because I'm obsessed with crushing rocks. Um, but no, I mean efficiency, less labor across the board. Even our power supply. Yes, we increased the horsepower of the from the old jaw to the McClanahan 3254, but we run less hours, so our total power that we're using for the plant is actually less than it was in past years. So it's been huge across the board.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, do you run every day then, or
Yeah, we were going from running 6 days a week, almost 12 hours a day on the mining portion of the plant. I think you remember Nick had set up into three different plants, so we were running that one plant, 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, and now we're down to 4 to 5 days a week, and you know, like yesterday and today, only 7 hours.
okay? Wow. So do you ever anticipate ramping up and producing more, or is this pretty much what you need? I mean, you're always hoping to sell more product, I suppose.
Yeah.
So you want to see more hours, but
Right.
um, that's good. I never thought of that being a positive, but yeah, you only have to run the crusher, the jaw crusher. The primary so often that would save you quite a lot in electrical, and I'm sure um, the people on the grid love that too.
Oh yeah.
Especially in the middle of summer because it probably gets pretty warm out there.
Yeah, we're in a little bit of a heat spell right now, actually. It's been close to 100, and they've been loving getting off at 1, 2 o'clock and going to the pool or whatever they want to do after work.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, well, last time I was up there, I think it was snowing.
Yep.
That would have been October, November, somewhere in there. And then maybe even the last time we were out there for this job story, I think it's when it rained, right? You got like 10 inches of rain or some
Yeah, I
ridiculous
think
amount.
I think we're walking around in the
Uh,
mud.
Moving back, I guess, to the topic here. Tell me about your plant. So we know you have a primary jaw. How about the rest of your plant? Can you walk me through all that?
Yeah, so from the jaw, we have three belts and it goes to a surge pile. So, like I said earlier, we have a brown vein and a blue vein. So, we separate those depending on, what we're producing that day or what we're trying to accomplish. So, we can move the stacker over that surge pile. So, we go to those two surge piles, and that's over top of a tunnel system with two feeders inside of it. From that tunnel system, we can run one of the feeders or both feeders, etc., of what we're trying to produce that day. And so all the rock from the jaw goes through that, and we screen out all of our fines, which is our DG, our decomposed granite from the mountain. That gets all screened off, and we go into our first primary cone crusher, and that takes all the material from the jaw and our grizzly and reduces it down to 3/4 to 1 inch, roughly. And then from there we go to another surge pile on a tunnel system, and from that surge pile that feeds our whole finished plant. So with our finished plant we have two 8x24 shakers, two cone crushers, and a little wet shaker.
Okay. So you make really all types of construction materials. So you're making what concrete, rock, asphalt, chips, and that sort of thing. And then are you also producing sand or anything? Or
It's so DG is kind of like our fill material, and then we produce rock dust from the crushers that we'll sell kind of as a sand supplement, but we don't have any like fill sand per se. That would be at
okay,
a different facility.
granite can be very hard. Probably not great for an impact crusher. Um, so that's kind of why I'm guessing that's why you picked the jaw, since you had a jaw in the past. What kind of PSI are you seeing in that material? Is it in the 30s
Yes,
or?
it's I don't have an exact number, but yes, it's in the 30,000s. Yeah.
Okay, okay,
Yep. And just, I was running the plant yesterday, and just kind of a little backstory. So with the jaw, there's a tramp iron relief button, and went on 3 different times yesterday just due to the hardness of the rock that was going through the jaw crusher.
Wow.
Yep.
No
Yep,
kidding.
so I
Okay.
went off and made sure that there was nothing wrong, no piece of metal from the grizzly or anything, and the guys went up there and said it's just hard rock. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it's very, very abrasive, and that's the other thing that probably sets us apart from other quarries is it's very, very abrasive material.
Yeah. That's why you don't want an impactor. We have, some listeners are going to say, I don't really understand why you wouldn't use an impactor in hard abrasive rock. And if you just look at how that impactor works, you've got a rotor with hammers, and then there's liners all over the place, and that little rotor's spinning pretty fast. Maybe 400 or 500 RPM. It's just that machine just wears with every load. So always want to keep it to softer material like limestone and low abrasion. Probably nothing more than like, I don't know, 8%, 10% silica, or this is nastier. So anyway, just for the beginners out there. Uh, so let me see. How do you like that hydraulic function? So we just for the people listening out there, the H series jaw is what Kevin has. It's what we call our 3254, which is the size of the jaw. So it's a 32-inch opening by the width is 54. So you can get a pretty good size chunk in there. But the H series is the hydraulic system where like an uncrushable or super hard rock will allow that crusher to open. The hydraulics will go over relief, and open and allow that material to come out until that pressure drops and it comes back to whatever setting you had. It's really good because in the old days you had a toggle plate, right? And the toggle plate was the only thing that basically protected the jaw crusher. And they would break, they'd fall out when they break, and they hurt your conveyors underneath. It's a good system, but it's rough on the equipment downstream. So, you have the H series. Have you seen any, like uncrushables go through it? Has it saved you any downtime or anything like that you can think of, Kevin?
Yep. Like I said, just yesterday we had a couple uncrushable rocks because they were so hard, and then last week we had a drill bit because, like I said, it's all drill and blasted quarry. So we actually had a drill bit got left on the pad. So when we were digging it out, it got stuck in the jaw, and it was able to open itself up and let it drop, and we were able to get it off the belt and keep on running. So with the old jaw, like you said, it would have broke the toggle, which has happened before with our old jaw. And then, it's just all bad from there if you break a toggle on a jaw for those who have done it or been around it.
How long does it take, do you think, to change that? If you broke one, how long would it say you take to put a new one in?
Oh, man.
I mean,
You're,
assuming you have one on the ground.
yeah, you're
Assuming.
down, at least a day, at least if, depending on the setup of how, your jaw is oriented and stuff, but I would say at least a good day to get that replaced. It's heavy.
So, Kevin, about talking about your 3254H, what has that done for you on like labor costs?
Oh, it's been a huge savings. So with our old jaw, to take it down, it was all you had to do it by hand. We didn't have this fancy, HPU that you guys provide, and like you said, the hydraulic series. So it was all taken down by hand. So there was big metal shims, and depending on how far you want to take it down, 1 inch, 2 inches, etc., had to take that down by hand. So it would take, if you were getting after it and everything went good, it would be roughly an hour to take it down. But I have spent almost 3 hours taking it down at the end of the day. So, that cost and you couldn't just take it down for those who've been around a jaw like that and having to take it down. You can't take it down by yourself. So you need at least 2 to 3 guys, depending on, your setup to take it down. So you're talking 2 to 3 guys, an hour of their time, and when you're busy you might need to take it down every other week, so it just adds up. So when we bought the McClanahan 3254 H series, it just going over, we have a little 4 inch block that we put in the jaw that's where we want to keep the close side setting, so being able to just put that in the jaw and take it down with a couple buttons, it's huge. You go from an hour and a half with a couple guys to 5 minutes, and you can do it by yourself.
And you say take it down, you mean to reduce the close height setting
Correct.
or
Yep. Tighten it
yeah,
up.
okay. Because of the wear. Sure.
Yes. Yeah. So,
Well, that's pretty significant.
yeah,
Jeez.
and it's very user
Yeah.
friendly. So, with the old jaw, there was a select crew at the plant where, they knew how to do it and all the steps, and it was kind of hard to train a new guy who had never been around that. But with the McClanahan jaw, it's, you can pretty much show anybody off the street, hey, this is what you need to do, hit the buttons, and call it good. So that's been, even for the new guys, I have a guy that's been there for less than 90 days, and he even knows how to take the jaw down. So, and he's never been around this stuff in his life. So that's been a huge, upside to, getting the McClanahan.
Okay. I mean, that's huge. That's a huge savings. I mean, that's a whole 8 hour day of running. If that's the day you're running, anyways, it's a huge benefit. So going back to the environmental topic, dust control. Did you? I think you said something about upgrading your dust control recently or something like that. What have you done to upgrade on that?
So we, per APCD in our permit, we run bag houses at transfer points throughout the plant, and so we had a bag house right after the primary jaw, but because that we're able to feed it with so much rock, and a lot more gets crushed through the jaw instead of going through our grizzly, we had to add spray bars to mitigate that dust along with the bag house because so much rock is getting crushed now with the new jaw. And like you said, mentioned with the trail, the walkers, can see that whole setup. I think you remember, Nick, the dump pad and everything and the jaw and all the belts. So they walk right by all that. So we really need to, keep the dust down for all of the
Yeah.
people on the trail.
Yeah, I'm sure they wouldn't like a healthy lung of dust.
No,
No.
no, not at all.
For those that don't, I mean, I think everybody knows what a spray bar is. It just simply sprays water onto the material to kick the dust down. What is a bag house? Can you explain that a little more into detail?
So the easiest way that I think of is there's steel cages in there, and obviously bag houses, you get very small ones or very big ones, but there's a cage in there with a cloth, and you can almost think of it like a sock, I guess. And so the sock goes over the cage and it sucks dust up into the bags, and then there's a pulser with jet tubes that shoots air from the inside of the bag outwards, and it drops all the dust or the fines on the belt or wherever it may drop. So basically, it just sucks up all the dust that gets, accumulated through the venting system, and like our deal is right next to the jaw. So all the dust that comes, through the jaw gets sucked in the bag house, and the jet tubes pulse air through the bags, and whatever gets sucked on the bags gets dropped on the conveyor.
Okay. So you can, it's like a self-cleaning vacuum
Yep, exactly. That's a
almost.
that's an
Okay.
easy way of, and those bags inside the bag house, easiest way for people that have never been around one is it's a big sock is an easy way of thinking about it. So yeah.
Hey, okay. Yeah, it's like the old days where my mom had a vacuum and had a bag in it. So you just didn't have to pull that bag out and throw it in the garbage. So that's interesting. Okay. Okay. I know a lot of the quarries I go to, it's funny, you don't really know where these quarries are at because they always give you some vague directions, but you do see a bunch of dust. So you're like 10 miles away. You're like, I think that's it over there
Right.
because I see the dust.
Yep. Yep.
Well, maybe they don't see that in your spot
No,
anymore. Who
no, we
knows?
try and mitigate it as much as possible, or else I'm getting a phone
Good.
call.
Yeah, because we spend a lot of money on washing our cars now, right?
Yes,
So,
exactly. Yep.
so we talk about your plant. I mean, you've got a huge plant. You've got everything from crushing, screening. You've got surge piles, and you've got a secondary crusher, maybe even a tertiary, and then you've got a whole wash system too. So I'm sure you have predictive like maintenance is probably pretty hot topic for you. How many do you have? Quite a few employees. It's your quarry there, your site.
Including myself, there is 9 of us right now. So yep, it's a pretty small, like I said, we do about 500,000 tons on average, and, 9 to 10 guys at any one given time.
Okay. Well, so the predictive maintenance, we call it. So maintenance, do you know what that is? I'll let you define that if you can.
Proactive versus reactive is the easiest way that I would think of predictive maintenance. Not waiting for something to break or a belt to rip.
Well, why is that important, Kevin?
Downtime, Nick. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and yeah, no, I mean we try and have as much predictive maintenance from all of the crushers, the jaw, the cones, the shakers, the belts across the board. I track stuff with Excel on my computer of dates and times and tons per hour that we've had on certain conveyor belts. So, like I said, I've been doing it for almost 8 years now, and there's certain belts that I know that almost to the
Yeah.
day, every 3 years, we have to replace it.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I mean, it's you got to keep records. Now, let's say out of your week, 100, let's call it 100% runtime. How much is percentage wise is dedicated to maintenance, would you say?
Obviously, I mean, you've been around crushing and screening, so it varies on production, but I would say we try and dedicate, a couple hours at the end of every day, um,
Yes.
for maintenance. So, and that's a huge part of our quarry, which I think kind of sets us apart from other quarries in our areas just because it's so abrasive, like I said. So if you're not getting in a chute and lining it with rubber pads or checking screens every day, then you're gonna have, a down day the next day or maybe the following day.
Okay. Yeah. I was just thinking, as far as percentages go, customers will ask us that all the time. What do you think your crusher's going to do for uptime? We can say somewhere in that 25% up to maybe downtime because of maintenance. That's kind of a guess, right? So that's our goal though, is to try to give the customer as much runtime, but realistically, you got to see probably 20 to 15%
Right.
worth of downtime for maintenance. And liner changes. How long does it take to change a out?
We just did it on this past Friday, so this is perfect. And
We should have had a video of
I know, I messed up. Next time, next time. So we completely removed the stationary and put in a new die, and then we flipped the movable along with changing some of the side wear plates, and that was done in 7 hours.
Wow, that's great. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, good. Okay. And you have to do that on everything. Your cone crushers. How long does it take to do a cone crusher liner change?
that's a good day, day to day and a half, depending on what needs to get, accomplished. If you're doing mainframe liners or, you get more involved. But yeah, it's a good day, at least day and a half.
Yep. And then screens, of course, we got to change screen cloth because that wears out.
Yep.
How often do you get to change screen cloth? Let's say on your primary screen.
So we switched to polydeck a couple years ago, and I would say we're in there probably once a week, changing, panels here and there. So, but yeah,
Is that a urethane or a rubber or
a
what are you using?
combination. Yeah, depends on what
Okay.
screen. Yeah, combination.
So a
So,
combination.
yeah, and it's all 1 foot by 2 foot polydeck panels with the pin and leg applications.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's
Gotcha.
yeah, that's a good product as well.
I think the benefits to having, a predictive maintenance strategy is the downtime. You don't want the downtime, and that sure helps. Even though you're going to have unforeseen issues, like, you said that drill bit, which is, they can be, what, 4 foot plus long, just huge. Um, what happened? I mean, if that would go through the jaw and head downstream, what the heck would happen?
I mean, it's probably not
It's,
making it very far. It's probably getting caught in our first transfer box and ripping that belt, and that belt is 900 and something foot long. So, it just automatically you go down the line of just issues.
Yeah, so it just adds up right there. And
Yeah.
that's major downtime and cost
Yeah.
as well. Yeah. Do you have magnets in place
Yes, we
anywhere
do have
to
a
get that? Okay.
magnet after our first surge pile. We do have a magnet before our first cone crusher. So we have picked up quite a bit of metal off that magnet. That's saved us quite a few times here in the last 8 years.
What you're doing to for sustainability the aspect and what does control and with the electrical savings, that sort of thing. Sounds like your company's really on top of things. Very impressive. We're so happy to be partnered with you guys.
Yeah, no, and I mean, kudos to you guys. Obviously this was a huge change from what we were used to from the old job to this fancy new job. So, getting myself trained up initially, I have all your guys' numbers. I think I was calling Blake and you when you guys were at home, with the family and eating dinner. And, there was never an issue of, getting an answer, getting parts that I thought we needed. So it's been super smooth transition.
We're a big company, but we operate small. So neat thing about it is we're family owned. We've been around since 1835. So what is it? I think it's the 6th generation family owned company.
Wow.
So how many companies can say that? That's just awesome. Well, Kevin, I appreciate all your time. What an interesting topic this has been. The importance of sustainability in the aggregate operations. Just going through kind of how CalPortland is aware of that. Very, with dust control and things like that for the environment. With your interesting situation where you have a trail that runs through the property, you are obviously cognizant of that. So, and then the energy, not having to run that primary jaw crusher every single day, that's a huge benefit. So it's really cool to see a company in for yourself to be very, very aware of that. But really, everybody out there, I want to thank you for listening to Groundwork, a McClanahan podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite listening app for new episodes and follow McClanahan on social media for more content. Thank you. I'm Nick Ford, Director of Sales, Crushing and Screening. If you want more videos like this one, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to never miss an episode. And don't forget to check out the other episodes. Thanks for watching.